Pikmin is a Nintendo original series that appeared on the Nintendo GameCube on October 26, 2001 in Japan, December 3, 2001 in North America and June 15, 2002 in Europe. The game was produced under the baton of Nintendo's Dungeon Master, Shigeru Miyamoto, who, by the way, really did an excellent job in all the games that were released for this series. Pikmin, 2001, GameCube, Pikmin 2, released in 2004, also on GameCube, Pikmin 3, released in 2013 for the Wii U, also a spin-off game from the series, called as Hey! Pikmin, which takes place in 2D and is more focused on puzzles, released in 2017 for the Nintendo 3DS, and now Pikmin 3 Deluxe are games that have extremely exceptional quality. It is noticeable the care that was used in the elaboration of the games in the series and, indeed, it is a deserved treatment. The Pikmin series, although it tells how all three of its main titles are very well made and very fun, never came to be considered a great sales success, and there is a strong reason for this. The series appeared on Nintendo consoles that did not sell very well. Pikmin 1 and 2 were released on the GameCube and Pikmin 3 was released on the Wii U, and thus, consequently, the games also ended up not having a very large spread, but now, with Pikmin 3 Deluxe being released for a console as widespread as the Nintendo Switch, it's a real chance for the series to get the attention it deserves from the gaming community. Creativity was high in the making of Pikmin, and the game blends many elements into itself. That's why it's so difficult to rate this game exactly. You, for sure, have already seen the game being classified as action, strategy, exploration, puzzle, adventure, and the worst of all is that this is all true. The games in the Pikmin series mix all these elements and, yes, it's correct, to also compare the Pikmin games with the type of game developed in the highly acclaimed Age of Empires series, because, although in the Pikmin game you won't be leading troops of men, in mythological eras, collecting food and other materials to prepare for wars, you will be leading the friendly Pikmins to collect food, ship parts and prepare for wars against the pet's enemies. Before we talk about the gameplay, one thing should be clear in your mind. If you've never played any of the games in the series, don't worry, you won't be lost by starting your journey in Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Without having had contact with the games 1 and 2, this current game is absurdly fascinating and is an excellent gateway, first contact, into the Pikmin universe. And you will quickly incorporate all the charm that the series exudes. The story of Pikmin 3 Deluxe begins as follows. On an unknown galactic date, yes, they leave the exact year number open. In the far reaches of space there is a planet that is on the verge of collapse, and although our planet Earth is on the verge of collapse, by degradation promoted by man, we are talking about the planet Kapai. The problem with planet Kapai is this: a large growing population, a growing appetite, and a massive lack of planning for its natural resources. Thus, the inhabitants of Kapai did practically everything to deplete their food supply. Thus, the only hope for the people of Kapai is to find another planet with edible material. Let's pray we don't have to get to that here on Earth, because we don't even have the technology for that. So they launched into space some unmanned scanning vehicles called Spiros, and to the dismay of the people of Kapai, the search was not having any success, and just when they were about to give up the search, the last vehicle returned, bringing the miraculous discovery of an ideal planet, so they mobilized to investigate this planet. Now, Kapai's last hope rests in the hands of 3 brave explorers who travel through space, until, after traveling 279,000 light-years, the explorers approach planet PNF 404. However, just as they started the landing sequence, something went terribly wrong and the 3 crew members, Charlie, Ulf and Brittany, were thrown out of the ship, and each of them crashed in a different location on the planet. Yes, you will control the 3. After that, you will start to control Charlie and your first contact with the yellow Pikmins. Then you will check how was the fall of Ulf and Brittany, who discovered that the planet has berries that serve as food for their people, and will have the help of the friendly Pikmins. The game has 4 modes: story, which is the main mode, with the story of the game. In the original game, released for the Wii U, this mode could only be played by one player. In the deluxe version, released for Nintendo Switch, this main game mode can also be played in co-op mode, with another player. The mission mode, which are missions that you can play alone or cooperatively with another person. The side stories mode, which is the exclusive mode of the deluxe version that is unlocked after the player progresses in story mode, has 2 extra challenges, and the bingo battle mode, which is a very creative and fun battle mode, in which each player must collect items that were arranged on a bingo card. The player who completes the bingo card row first wins. Starting the main mode of the game, the story, you will see the story that we reported above, and you will start the game controlling the 3 crew members who fell from the ship. The first one you control is Charlie, and you will get to know the first Pikmins, and the game itself is already giving you some quick initial tutorials, showing you how to play. In short, controlling the crew, you will lead the peaceful, colorful and friendly Pikmins. You will explore the animals yourself. You have invaded their planet and have already given orders. That's right, you'll do the same thing the Portuguese did with Brazilian Indians, at the time of the discovery of Brazil. Well, the Pikmins will be commanded, or would be, enslaved, by you, and each one of them will be very useful in certain types of different missions. The game's story will be divided by day, and you must fulfill certain objectives before each day ends, in order to succeed in collecting food and scattered parts of your ship. At the end of the day, at dusk, you must collect your Pikmin so that they are not targeted by predators. There are different types of Pikmin. Each color of Pikmin determines a different characteristic it has. For example, the yellow Pikmin does not suffer from electricity, the blue Pikmin can walk underwater, the red Pikmin does not suffer from fire, the Pikmin stone is the strongest and can break crystals, purple Pikmin can fly. They will be your army, and you will use them for everything, from throwing them in places to putting them to beat down on enemies, but care must be taken with them, for they also die. Always keep in mind if you are focused on exploration, because every time you go through an area of the game, there will be many, many things to explore, and, make no mistake, if you go back to an area that you've already passed through at another time, you'll end up noticing new things that you left behind, because you couldn't take it at the time, and also things you hadn't even seen. The controls are good and respond very well. Nintendo has done a good job of adapting the game's controls, which were originally those of the Wii U, to the Switch. On Switch, you can play with the controller in traditional mode or use motion sensors. The best gaming experience, in our opinion, is using the motion sensors, just like the original Wii U controllers were, but it's all a matter of personal taste. Tip: try both modes and decide which one is your favorite. The graphics of the deluxe version, released for the Switch, did not have much improvement over the graphics of the original game, released on the Wii U, which is not all bad, as the graphics were already great, nice and clean. We see big serrations and there are good lighting effects. However, when we use the game with the Switch in handheld mode, the resolution is a little lower, which causes small details to be visually lost. We didn't detect any bugs in the game, but the deluxe version continues with a little thing that was quite annoying since the original Wii U version, which is you keep losing some Pikmins in steeper places in the environment, in addition to not having brought an online multiplayer mode, which could have been a great addition to the game and made a great difference in the set. In summary, it is a game belonging to a series relatively unknown by the gamer community, due to the games having been originally released exclusively for the GameCube and Wii U consoles, which did not sell so well. Now the game has arrived in full force on the powerful Nintendo Switch, through the deluxe version of Pikmin 3, which includes pleasant changes compared to the original Wii U version, bringing new optional missions with Olimar and Louie, characters from the first Pikmin games, as well as the great option of playing the main mode, story, with a second player and having all the extra content from the launch after the original game, DLCs. It's a game that, perhaps because of the very colorful look and extremely cute characters, gives a first impression, for those who've never played it, of being very childish and silly, but it's not like that. The game is very colorful, it is graphically beautiful, at the same time it is quite challenging, it has a lot of adventure, exploration, puzzles, and it has a very stimulating and strategic game style. Remove any prejudice you may have about the Pikmin series, and above all about Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and allow yourself to live this wonderful experience. It's a game, addictive, by the way, totally recommended. Rating: Graphics, 9.2. Fun, 10.0. Gameplay, 10.0. Sound, 10.0. Final note, 9.8.